Flip it around, guys, so you can see the logo once again. Solid Foundation Israelite Academy. What's up, Facebook? What's up, family and friends? Please be sure to share this video. Solid Foundation Israelite Academy 2019 is approximately 10 o'clock, guys, and you guessed it, I'm your host, Shabar Judah Israel, that's going to be bringing forth the lesson on tonight. And the topic of discussion is concerning the new moon. So I'm going to give some information on the new moon. Hopefully, brothers and sisters, I'll see you guys when you spawn in, when you come into the room. Hope all is well. Peace and blessings to you all. Okay. We see Yawasop. Okay. Joe McDuffie, aka Yawasop, is watching. Peace and blessings to you. Hope all is well with the family. Hope all is well with the brothers and sisters. It's an honor to have you on tonight to be a part of this wonderful lesson. So please share the video. And like I said, thank you guys for your support. Joe McDuffie says, bring it out. Oh, you know I'm going to bring it out. You already know I'm going to lay the smack down. You already know I'm going to slam it on them. I'm coming with it. So the topic of discussion on tonight is concerning the new moon. Guys, if you don't know, it is a new moon tonight. So you Hebrews out there, you should be celebrating concerning the new moon Sabbath, the new moon feast. It is truly indeed tonight, new moon. So what I'm going to do, I'm heading over here to the altar and I'm grabbing the shofar. I'm grabbing the shofar, guys, because this is all concerning new moon. This is the new moon, guys. If you're not sure, you can head over to I believe it's moonconnection.com, moonconnection.org is one of those. So yes, it's tonight's new moon. What you see right here, guys, you see a shofar. This is a shofar. Not a very large one, but the average size, you know. And I'm going to sound it off in a couple seconds. So, Joe McDuffie, a.k.a. Yahweh, it is truly indeed tonight, new moon. So, where can this be found in the Bible? It's easy. You can pay attention to the new moon. If you guys don't believe me, you can go outside and try your best to spot out the new moon. Now, it's going to be extremely hard because a new moon is almost like an invisible moon and you can barely see it. Like when the new moon comes in, it's so hard to see. It's so hard to visualize. It's like an invisible moon. That's another name they will address the new moon to be, an invisible moon. So sometimes it can be very hard to see. But truly indeed tonight is the new moon. All right. Because we know technically, you know, Wednesday ended when the sun went down, and so we have Thursday night, which is you might as well say August 1st. So let's get into the scriptures, guys. You're gonna need a King James Bible, composition book to take notes. New moon. All right. First and foremost, Isaiah 66:23. So, guys, if you have a Bible, please turn with me to Isaiah 66:23. That's Isaiah in the King James Bible, 66 chapter, 23rd verse. And let's see what it has to say concerning new moon. All right? Isaiah 66:23. Isaiah is found in the Old Testament, guys. You should know that. Isaiah would be one of the major prophets. So there's Isaiah 66, and we will start with verse 23. All right. Hope you guys are in high spirits. I am today, well tonight, and so I hope the rest of you is in very good spirits. All right. So Isaiah 66:23, it says, and it shall come to pass, because this is future prophecy. Isaiah 66 chapter is dealing with future prophecy. So this hasn't technically happened yet, but it will, concerning the prophetic messages that the prophets laid. So Isaiah 66, guys, is future prophecy. It hasn't taken its course yet, but it's soon to come. And this is what we're going to be doing in the kingdom. So Isaiah 66:23, it says, and it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me. And this is Isaiah 66:23 in the King James. So it says from one new moon to another. A new moon is a new month. That's what, basically, guys, the moon basically is so essential. It's very important. Why I say that? Because the months is regulated by the moon. If you do not have a moon in the sky, if there was no moon in the sky, there would be no months. So the moon actually regulates the months. That's what creates the months. That's what creates months, the moon. Because the moon, once again, the moon brings in the month. So, guys, the moon is regulated, or should I say the month is regulated by the new moon. So you would not have months if it wasn't no moon. Actually, when you say moon, you're saying month. M-O-O-N. Actually, when you saying moon, you are saying month. You can look this up. You can look it up on Google, guys. You can look this up on Google. If you go online and look it up, look up the etymology for the word moon. M-O-O-N. Look up the etymology for the word moon. Moon is actually mona or monet, which means month. So the new month comes from what they call new moon. You see, you can look this up, guys. Moon goes back to the etymology of Monet, what we call month. So you guys are following me? Hope I'm not making it difficult. So keep that in mind. Now, some more information. People actually stopped observing the new moon as the beginning of the months around the 4th century. Around the 4th century, people stopped observing the new moon as the beginning of months. The new moon was discontinued. So you can say all the way up to the 4th century, people was observing the new moon highly. People was very fascinated and they was very tuned in to observing and keeping the new moon consistently. It's only to the 4th century that people stopped observing the new moon as the beginning of months and it discontinued. So that's just an extra note I want to put out, guys, concerning the new moon. Also, we know that today's calendar in America, the calendar in America, the Gregorian calendar, also a sun calendar. You know, today's solar calendar is based on the sun. The calendar that you have today is based on the sun. We don't supposed to go really by the calendar that we've been given today, this Gregorian calendar. We don't supposed to go by this calendar that we've been given today. Today's solar calendar is based on the sun. What about the biblical calendar? How did they do it in the Bible? Well, they went by the new moon. They went by the moon, the lunar calendar. So today's solar calendar, aka the Gregorian calendar, is based on the sun. While the Bible calendar, the Jews kept, the Bible calendar is the lunar calendar that the Jews kept. They didn't keep no solar calendar or no Gregorian calendar. That's another extra note that I wanted to throw out there to you guys. So we read so far Isaiah 66:23. It shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, says the Lord. You know, When it says all flesh, that means all nations. Even the heathens and the Gentiles gonna pay homage to the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. All right. So that was Isaiah 66:23. All right. New moon, guys, is tonight. So if you can celebrate it, please celebrate it. So now I'm going to show you concerning the shofar. Going to show you concerning the shofar. Why is it imperative to sound off the shofar, thus dealing with the new moon? All right. So where can I find this at? Let's go to Psalms 81:3. So now we're still in the Old Testament and we are heading over to Psalms, the 81st chapter. This is Psalms 81. And let's begin with verse 3. It can all be found in the Bible, guys. Psalms 81 verse 3. This is what it says. Psalms 81 verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. See that? So it's in the Bible. Psalms 81 verse 3. It says, blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the appointed time on our solemn feast day. So we're going to sound off the trumpet. When it says blow up the trumpet, that's in reference to the shofar. That's talking about the shofar, guys. So let's sound it off. We're going to blow it 3 times for the Father, Son, and the Comforter. All right? Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For Yahweh. For Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And last but not least, for the Comforter. Better yet known as the Holy Spirit, or you may say the Holy Ghost. All right. We covered Isaiah 66:23. We covered Psalms 81 verse 3. And we're not going to get a whole lot of book, chapter, and verses on tonight. But I'm just shooting you out some information concerning the new moon, guys. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to go to the very beginning of the Bible. So let's go to the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 1. And let's begin with 14 in reference to the new moon. Genesis chapter 1 verse 14. Genesis 1:14. And it says, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament. So he placed lights in the firmament. So what does that tell you? Genesis 1:14. What does that tell you? That literally tells you that there's no such thing. There's no such thing as lights in space. Because we know that the Edomites, the so-called white man, which are the Edomites, have sold you tons of lies, deception, deceit, trickery, and robbery. The Edomites, which is the so-called white man, he have sold you this lie for some time and getting you to believe that the lights that we classify as the luminaries, such as the sun, moon, and stars, the so-called white man has lied to us throughout science and told us that the sun, moon, and stars are located in space. Bullshit. You really believe that the sun, moon, and stars are located in what you call space? There is no space. There's no space, guys. There's no space. But if there are space, there is water. It literally tells you in Genesis 1:14, and God said it should have been reworded as the gods. Because one spiritual entity did not play a part in creating the world. You had many different spiritual entities, celestial angels, or what you call divine judges, that created this world. So Genesis 1 and 14 should have been quoted, the gods, plural, said, let there be lights in the firmament. Let there be lights in the firmament. So-called white man tells you that lights is on the outside of the firmament. See that? The Bible says that the Elohim, or the Elohim, which are the angelic beings, when they was creating the world, when they was creating the elements thereof, when they was creating the luminaries, Genesis 1 and 14 says, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament. The gods placed lights inside of the firmament. They never placed lights on the outside of the firmament. So this space bullcrap is a goddamn lie. Oh, the sun can be located in space. Where's the sun, moon, and the stars? Oh, it's located in space. Bullshit. The sun, moon, and stars are in the firmament, which is a transparent glass dome that surrounds the earth. And I'm not going to get into that, but guys, you should know this. There's no such thing as space. You cannot get outside the firmament. There is a transparent glass that holds us within this three-dimensional plane, and you cannot get out of it. The only way you can get out of it is through translation known as death. That's what separates you from the three-dimensional plane to enter the fourth-dimensional plane. So Genesis 1 and 14, we see Jabari Terrell English watching. Appreciate you, my brother. Jabari Terrell English, Brian Carter, my man, and Joe Matt Duffy, my man. Appreciate you guys. Not to get off topic, but this is concerning the new moon. Genesis 1 and 14, and the God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night. So Genesis 1 and 14, we can clearly see here that the luminaries is being made. Now, what are the luminaries? The luminaries are the heavenly lights, which is the sun, moon, and the stars. The sun represents the father, the moon represents the mother, and the stars represents the children. So the luminaries is the celestial family. The sun represents the lesser light, which is the father. Salakia. The sun represents the greater light, which is the father. The moon represents the lesser light, which is the mother. And the stars represents the offspring, the children. And we can see in Genesis 1 and 14 that the gods are creating the heavenly lights. Right? To divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons. So what the luminaries was created for? The luminaries was created to be for signs. We also see Saul Core. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for tuning in, Saul, man. Glad to have you. Much love and respect to you all. Thank you, my friend. Now, Genesis 1 and 14 tells you that the Most High created the elements in terms of the luminaries for them to be signs. Let them be signs and for seasons and for days and years. Genesis 1 and 15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. So we know that the luminaries was also created to give light upon the earth. The luminaries, such as the sun, moon, and stars, was created for signs. And they also was created to give light upon the earth. The moon gives light upon the earth during the twilight. The sun gives light upon the earth during the daylight. See that? Genesis 1 and 16. And the gods made two great lights. Now, what are the two great lights? The two great lights is what you call the sun and the moon. We are in Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 16 in the King James Bible. So Genesis 1 and 16 clearly tells you that the gods, they created two great lights. What is the two great lights? The sun and the moon. Two great lights. The greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, which is the father, and the lesser light to rule the night, which is the moon, which is the mother. He made the stars also, which is likened unto the children. That's why that's why every 28 days, a woman comes on her menstrual cycle, because her period can be regulated by the moon, because the moon goes through a 28-day cycle just like a woman with major 8 phases. Okay, so this is why the moon is in reference to the woman being the lesser vessel, because the moon is regulated by the woman's menstrual cycle. A woman can actually look at the moon and tell when it's the time of her menstrual cycle if she understood the major phases of the moon. You see? And tonight is new moon, so we say happy new moon, Akion wa Abwa, brothers and sisters. All right? That's the topic of discussion. Trying to share information on the new moon, because the new moon brings in the Sabbath. So tonight is the high Sabbath. This is the new moon Sabbath tonight. A very special event for the Hebrews, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? So I hope you guys are soaking in this information. Okay? Just remember, like I said in the beginning, the months are regulated by the moon. You wouldn't have months. You wouldn't have months of the year. You wouldn't have no months of the year if it wasn't from a moon, because that's what actually brings them in. Now, how many major phases are there concerning the moon? There are eight different major phases. You have the new moon, you have the waxing crescent, you have the first quarter, you have the waxing gibbous, you have the full moon, you have the waning gibbous, you have the last quarter, and then you have the waning crescent. Total 8 phases of the moon. So really, guys, we don't really supposed to be going by a clock, a timepiece, because also the gods in the beginning, when the gods created the luminaries, which are the sun and the moon, you can use the sun and the moon to calculate time. You ever looked on your wall and you see your clock on your wall and it's a circular shape? You look at your wristwatch on your wrist and it's a circular shape. The majority of clocks are all circular. Why? Because before there was a clock even invented by man, the heavenly clocks are the moon and the sun. Those are the heavenly clocks. And then later on down the line, man created this circular timepiece. But it goes back. Your timepiece, time was actually in the ancient times, in the ancient of days, time was being calculated by the luminaries. Nobody had no timepiece. No one had a clock. No one had a wristwatch. No one had a cell phone to look at time. In the ancient days, men and women calculated time by the luminaries. We see Monique Myers. Appreciate you, Monique. My girl. Thank you. Share the video with family and friends. Thank you for your time. All right? So back in the ancient times, guys, no one was telling time by what you call the modern day clock. They was using the luminaries to calculate time. So once again, I'm going to go over the 8 phases of the moon once again. You have the new moon, which is tonight. Guys, if you can go outside and see the new moon, try to see it. It's very hard to see. But the new moon is tonight. And if you're a Hebrew Israelite, if you fall in the category of black, Hispanic, Latino descent, you are a Hebrew Israelite. And your custom is to keep the new moon annually. So, like I said, a new moon brings in a new month. So this is the first month where you can say this is the beginning of months. Okay, and we know that August, guys, listen up. August, what they tell you, what month of the year they tell you August is. What month of the year they tell you August is. Because they'll tell you that January is the first month of the year, which is not. If you're a Hebrew, if we all Hebrews, but if you've been studying in the Hebrew knowledge, you should know that January is not the first month of the year. All right, but they tell you that in America, the Edomites, the so-called white man with his lies. But anyways, they tell you it's January, February, March, April, May. June, July, right? And after July, August. So according to America, they say that August is the 8th month. They say that August over here is the 8th month. Do you believe that August is the 8th month? August is not the 8th month, guys. Joe Matt Duffy, aka Yahweh Saab, Brian Carter, Jabari English, Saul Core, Monique Mars, Louise Herrera. August is not the 8th month. August is not the 8th month, guys. August can only be the 8th month if you go by the Gregorian calendar. August can only be the 8th month if you go by the sun calendar. The Hebrews studied the lunar calendar and go by the lunar calendar. So August is not the 8th month. August is actually the 6th month. And August, if you didn't know this, August gets its name from Caesar Augustus, which was a Roman emperor during the time of Christ. Okay? This is where you get the name August from. It comes from Caesar Augustus, which was a wicked ass emperor. He was a homosexual, man. Caesar Augustus. And I believe he was the longest reigning Caesar of all Caesars. And he existed 2,000 years ago when Christ walked the earth. Caesar Augustus, a Roman emperor, an Edomite. He was the longest reigning Caesar of all time. And so they commemorated him in terms of giving August, the 8th month, they named it after him. August, Augustus, guys. But it's not the 8th month. August is the 6th month. We know, according to the lunar calendar, that March is the first month of the year, which is also known as the month of Abib. So if you start from March and you count all the way up to August, you will see that August is the 6th month. Okay. January, guys, is the 11th month. And February is the 12th month. And March is the first month of the year concerning the lunar calendar that the Hebrews went by. Now the heathens, the so-called white man, gave you a solar calendar. And he also gave you a heliocentric cosmos. Because our ancestors didn't go by a heliocentric cosmos. Our ancestors didn't go by no helio system cosmos, man. Everybody know that the earth is flat. I'm not going to get into that. Everybody should know that the earth is flat. They tried to tell you that in Man in Black. Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. Man in Black Part 1, they try to tell you that on the slide that the earth is flat. A lot of niggas didn't get it. It's okay. We're not going to get into flat earth theory. All right? But this is simple knowledge, guys. This is simple, man. All you got to do is critical thinking. All you got to do is reasonable thinking, logical thinking. That's it. All right? Everyone should know that the new moon is a new month. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't want to give all these book chapter and verses because I don't have time for that. It's getting late. But guys, I wanna go into this before I close. All right? Because I'm all over the place concerning this new moon. And I want to stay in line, guys. I really want to stay in line. Now, guys. All right. So, how would you say moon in Hebrew? How would you say moon in Hebrew? You would say, Yarak. Okay? Yarak. Yarak. That's how you would say moon in Hebrew. Yarak. Quadash. Yarak. If I'm not mistaken, guys. All right? Or some may say Yarich. Or some may say Yarak Kadash. Some say Yarak Kadash. Some say Kadash Yarak. Or Kadash Arik. Concerning the Hebrew. All right? One more last book, chapter and verse, guys. And then I'll probably give you some esoteric knowledge. Louise Huera, Monique Myers, Saul Core, Jabari Terrell English, Brian Carter, Joe McDuffie. I'll probably give you guys a snippet of some esoteric knowledge before I close out. But anyways, let me get this last book, chapter and verse. Now, guys, if you have your Apocrypha, I'm going to need you to grab your Apocrypha because we're going into the Apocrypha. The 14 books that the Protestant Reformation removed from the Bible. The Apocrypha books. Because all your Bibles had the Apocrypha books in it up into the 1800s. After the 1800s, Apocrypha was eradicated by the Roman Catholic Protestants, beginning with Martin Luther that formed the Protestant Reformation. They broke off and didn't agree that these books should be part of the Bible, and they considered these books non-canonical. But anyways, let's go to a certain book in the Apocrypha concerning the new moon. And this book is Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus. So this book is known as Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus. So let's go to Ecclesiasticus, the 43rd chapter, verse 6. Ecclesiasticus, the 43rd chapter, verse 6. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. Chapter 43, beginning with verse 6. All right, guys, here we go. He made the moon also to serve in her seasons for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. Ecclesiasticus 43, verse 7. From the moon is the sign of feasts. So right now, see, this is Ecclesiasticus 43 and verse 7. From the moon is the sign of feasts. So this is how we can determine the feast days that we know as the holy days. The Hebrew Israelites that we classify as the holy days that can be found in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. All these days are regulated by the times of the moon. You gotta keep up. You gotta keep track with the moon. You gotta get on that moon calendar. You gotta study that moon calendar, and you gotta keep up with that moon in order to know the signs of the times concerning the feast days. This is Ecclesiasticus 43, verse 7. From the moon is the sign of feasts, a light that decreases in her perfection. Ecclesiasticus 43, verse 8. The month is called after her name. See that? So they telling you this in the Bible. Jabari, they telling you this in the Bible. Saul Core, they telling you this in the Bible. Monique Myers, they telling you this in the Bible. Brian Carter, Joe McDuffie, aka S.F.I.A. They telling you this. They telling you this in there. You see why the Catholic Church removed the Apocrypha from the Bible? Because it tells you in Ecclesiasticus 43, verse 8, the moon is called after her name. They didn't want you to know that when you talking about a month, you actually talking about a moon. They didn't want you to know that. The moon is called after her name, increasing wonderfully. And her changing, because the moon is a personification for a woman. Let me tell you something. I don't want to get too deep, guys, but don't you know a woman go on a monthly cycle, guys? We see Patricia Toombs. We appreciate you, Patricia Toombs. Thank you for being part of this wonderful lesson, my sister. I hope all is well. Peace and blessings to you on the other side. Don't you know when a woman go on her monthly cycle? Man, I got to put y'all on some science, man. Don't you know when a woman go on her monthly cycle, that's in reference to the phases of the moon? Guys, every 28 days, a cycle is instituted, guys. A woman can tell you, man, you don't believe me? What they call her menstrual cycle that's a personification of the phases of the moon, man. The eggs in her ovaries that's releasing, that's producing ovulation, that's in formation with the cycles of the moon, man. Now that's some deep esoteric knowledge, man, that you can only receive through meditation. A lot of my knowledge I receive through meditation. I receive it from the ether because the gods give it to me. But anyways, Yeah, man, if you didn't know that, a woman monthly cycles can be regulated by the moon. Because that's what a woman monthly cycle tries to personify. They try to tell you that. But many brothers and sisters, they don't know the science behind this new moon knowledge, man. But anyways, Ecclesiasticus, 43rd chapter in the Apocrypha. We moving on now. Ecclesiasticus 43, verse 8. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully and changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. 43, verse 9 in Ecclesiasticus. The beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, and the ornament giving light in the highest places of the law. So tonight is a very special night, guys, because it's a new moon tonight. And if you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're supposed to be celebrating the new moon Sabbath tonight, guys. Because the Bible tells us to do this annually. We should do this annually. Okay? Because this is what we're going to do when the kingdom is fully restored. We showed you in Isaiah 66, verse 23 already. It says, from one new moon to another shall all flesh come and worship before me. And all flesh is pertaining to all nations. So we're going to do this in the kingdom of heaven to come. Because a lot of brothers and sisters would tell you that we don't need to keep the new moon. Especially the religious institutions, they would tell you that the new moon is no necessity to keep the new moon. Where if that's correct, why it tells you in Isaiah 66 chapter, which is a future prophecy that haven't taken place yet, why it tells you in the kingdom of heaven that all flesh is going to come from one moon to another to worship the Most High if the new moon is not essential, if the new moon is not important, guys. You see that? That don't make any damn sense, man. You feel me? But guys, remember, you got to study the moon. You got to get the phases of the moon down. Just go on the internet and type in phases of the moon. Type in phases of the moon and you will see what I'm talking about. Okay, when a new moon comes in, it'll look like a very dark moon, like a black moon, like tonight. You can barely see the moon tonight. It's so damn black. You can barely see the moon tonight because it's a new moon. And that brings in a new month. So actually, August is not the 8th month. August is the 6th month. The real name for August before it was called August is called Sextus. All right? Sextus, which means 6 in Latin, guys. So the real name for August is actually Sextus, which means 6. Like sex. Sacred energy exchange. That means 6. All right, guys? So that's your real name for August. It's not August. It's actually called Sextus. But guess what? It was named after Caesar Augustus, a Roman emperor. And that's why they called it August, because they named this month after Caesar Augustus. The same emperor that was reigning during the time of Christ in the gospel. All right. And so continuing on, guys, remember, you got to study those phases of the moon, because when that new moon comes in, is a dark moon. And then you'll go to that second phase, which is a waxing crescent. That's when guys, listen to me, guys. Go to Moon Connection on your free time and see what I'm talking about. So when the new moon comes in, what's going to happen, it's going to start waxing. Now, waxing means to increase. So when the new moon comes in, you're going to see that black moon like you see tonight. Now, after that new moon is over, it's going to start waxing, guys. Anytime the moon is waxing, anytime that moon begins to wax, the light is always going to be on the right-hand side. Okay? The light is always going to be on the right-hand side. So after the new moon, you have the waxing crescent. And after the waxing crescent, you have the first quarter. And after the first quarter, guys, you have the waning gibbous. The light is still on the right-hand side. And after the full moon, guys, after you go from a new moon to a full moon, after that full moon, guys, this is when the light begins to decrease. And after the full moon, the light will be on the left-hand side, which is called a waning gibbous. And then you'll have the last quarter, and then you'll have the waning crescent. And then you'll have the repetition again. You see that, guys? So when the new moon comes in, and it start, and after the new moon, you see that light on the right hand side. That means the moon is waxing. That means it's increasing, because it's gonna go from a new moon to a full moon eventually. After the full moon, guys, the light is going to decrease, and it's gonna be on the left hand side, and it's gonna go all the way down to a waning crescent, and it's gonna repeat the new moon cycle over again. So, guys, I hope this was some genuine information to you. Patricia Toombs, Louise Herrera, Monique Myers, Saul Core, Jabari Terrell English, Brian Carter, Joe McDuffie, aka Yahweh Sop. Guys, let me tell you something. Your left and right eye. I try not to go deep, man. I'm gonna get in trouble, man. I'm gonna get in trouble on Facebook, because I don't know if I should be saying this live, man. I already got several notices about me saying stuff. But guys, man, it's the truth. I can't hide it. It's the truth, man. I'm going to be mindful what I say, though. Listen to me. Your left and right eye is the sun and the moon. Your left and right eyes is the sun and the moon. Don't you know everything on the outside of you is actually on the inside of you? So when you look up at the firmament, right, you see the sun and the moon. That's your left and right eye. You're looking at a reflection of yourself. You didn't know that? The stars are your teeth. All right, guys? And then you have opening chasms. You have open chasms in the earth. Those are your two holes in your nostrils, and also your two holes in your left and right ears, guys. All right? You didn't know that? I told you, man. You're dealing with a master teacher, man. I studied from the gurus. You feel me? I'm not the average Hebrew, man. I don't mean to sound conceited, but guys, take heed to what I'm saying. I'm dropping jewels right now, man. You feel me? So listen up. Your left and right eye is the sun and the moon. Your teeth are the stars. Your nostrils, your left and right nostrils, including your ears, they are the opening chasms of the earth, which open from time to time. And if you doubt me, guys, if you doubt me, we see Cedric Tyson is watching. We glad to have you, Cedric Tyson. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for your time. If you guys doubt me that your face actually explains the cosmos, what do they call makeup when you... Patricia Toombs, can somebody please answer this? I want the females to answer this. Venus, Judah, Israel, we appreciate your time. I want the females to answer this. I want the females to answer this. Venus, Judah, Israel. Patricia Toombs. Monique Myers. What do they call makeup? What's the synonym for makeup? What's the synonym for makeup? What is another name for makeup? What do they call that when you apply that to the face? Anyone can key it in. I want the woman to answer this. Venus, Judah, Israel, Patricia Toombs, or Monique Myers, or any other woman that's tuned in. What's another synonym for makeup? Because a lot of brothers and sisters may not believe that their face actually is a representation of the cosmos. What do they call another name for makeup? What do they call it? Okay, guys, we're running out of time. I'm going to give away the answer. They call it cosmetics. Another name for makeup is cosmetics. Now, where do you apply cosmetics? You apply cosmetics on the face. Now, why do they call it cosmetics? Because cosmetics comes from the root word cosmos. And what is the cosmos? The cosmos is the universe. The cosmos is the galaxies. Okay, cosmetics, guys. Exactly. Venus, Judah, Israel said cosmetics. Exactly. Cosmetics, the root word for cosmetics is cosmos, which deals with the elements of the galaxies in the universe. So why would they call something that you apply on your face cosmetics? Because these elites know that your face is a personification of the cosmos. Your eyes are the sun and the moon. Your nostrils and your two ears, the two holes in your ears, are the opening chasms of the earth. Now your mouth is the biggest opening chasm of the earth, and your teeth are the stars, guys. Because everything on the outside of you is actually on the inside of you, guys. Okay, so like I said, you gotta meditate, man. I received this information from a high alkaline diet and meditation, man. You thinking everything on the outside of you, there's nothing on the outside of you. Everything is on the inside of you. What you're seeing on the outside of you is a figment of your imagination, because nothing exists on the outside of you unless it exists on the inside first, guys. And that's facts, man. All right? Nothing exists on the outside of you unless it exists on the inside of you. Why you think that you're called a human being? Why you think that we're called beings? Now you break down the word being. Being is being. You can't be in nothing. Nothing can be on the outside of you unless it's on the inside of you, guys. So you can't be in nothing unless something is on the inside of you. So what you're seeing on the outside of you is just a figment of your imagination. The trees, the elements, the bushes, the sticks, the stalks, the livestock, the waters, the lands, all these are just a figment of your imagination, because they actually your cells. They're actually your body cells. And that's another lesson within itself, guys. If you want me to get esoteric, you want me to go on quantum physics, or you want me to get really metaphorical, guys, I can do that. But I'm not going to do that for this lesson, because the topic of discussion for this lesson was concerning the new moon information. We see Jimmy Blake is watching, Venus Judah Israel, Cedric Tyson, Patricia Toombs, Louis Herrera, Monique Myers, Saul Core, Jabari Terrell English, Brian Carter, Joe McDuffie, a.k.a. Yahweh Sop. Yeah, guys. Let me tell you what your brain is. Y'all gonna get me in trouble, man. They already done cut me off. I can't even go live on Facebook. They cut me down to 15 minutes. Now I can't go live completely. Y'all gonna get me in trouble on Facebook, man. But I'm gonna do it for you guys. Hopefully. This ain't no sacred knowledge, man. Everybody should know this. Your brain is made up of two primary elements, and that's copper and carbon. So your brain is, you got neurotransmitters in your brain, guys, and your brain, because this is in reference to the luminaries. When you're looking up at the sun, you're actually looking up at, when you're looking up at the sun, you are inside of your own body looking at your brain. When you look up at the sun, you are inside of your own body looking at your own brain. The sun is your brain, guys. Everything on the outside of you is a figment of your imagination, because everything on the outside of you is on the inside. So when you look up at the sun, you are looking up at your own brain, guys. That's why when you wanna edify someone, you call that enlightening someone. Now, what do they what symbol do they use for thinking? Like when you thinking of anything, what symbol do they use for thinking? They use a light bulb. Why in the hell do they use a light bulb in reference to your thinking? Because your brain is the sun, guys. Your brain is the sun, man. You're not going to hear this information nowhere else, man. Because I received this from the etheric guys through meditation, man. The sun is your brain. That's a portion of your brain. Actually, the sun and moon is the left and right brain. Guess what the stars are? The sun and moon are your left and right brain. Guess what the stars are? The stars, they are the neurotransmitters in your brain. And your brain consists of two elements, which is carbon and copper. Now, how do you produce electricity? How do you get electricity? You get electricity through carbon and copper. You get electricity through the friction of carbon and copper. If you don't believe me, you can look at the generator in a car. Because what electrifies the generator is you have carbon and copper that's rubbing against each other, creating electricity, guys. The same substance in your brain. That's what makes up your brain, carbon and copper. And carbon and copper, once your pineal gland, guys, your pineal gland, which is the endocrine gland in your brain, your pineal gland is made of copper. Now, what is the cerebellum? What they call the cranium. What is the cerebellum made of? What is the cerebellum? The pineal gland, the endocrine gland consists of copper. I mean, the endocrine gland consists of carbon. So what is the cerebral gland made of? Copper. And when you rub together, you get electricity, electrical impulses. Now your nervous system, the nervous system is there so it can send the electrical impulses through the body. So it's really not a nervous system. It's not what you call a nervous system. It's really the solar system. It's not really the nervous system. It's actually the solar system. Everything, I'm telling you guys, man, I can go on and on with this esoteric knowledge. I'm not going to do it. Jimmy Blake, man, Venus Judah Israel, Cedric Tyson, Patricia Toombs, Louise Herrera, Monique Myers, Saul Core, Jabari Terrell English, Brian Carter, Yahweh Sop. I can go on and on, man. I can give you never heard information before right now. You never heard this information because I received this from the etheric gods. You can only get this through high alkaline diet. You can only get this through high alkaline diet and meditation. You're not going to receive this type of information eating junk food. All right. So guys, I hope this video was enlightening to you. You see, you got to think about that because I mean, it's no excuse, guys. We in the information age now. It's no excuse for lacking information. We in the information age now. It's no excuse for that, guys. No excuse for lacking information. We in the age of Aquarius. Why in the hell we gonna lack information? We in the age of Aquarius. How in the hell we lacking information, guys? The neutrinos, the solar energy, it's awakening the DNA, man. Don't you know you wouldn't have DNA if it went from the sun? The ribonucleic acid, DNA. You wouldn't have that if it went from the sun. You wouldn't have DNA if it wasn't from the sun, guys. You couldn't even exist if it wasn't from the sun. This is why you have a solar plexus. This is why right above your stomach, you have a solar plexus which regulates radiation from the sun. This is why on the bottom of your feet, it's called a soul. Now, what is soul? Soul is the Latin word for sun. See, guys? So it's very important to study the luminaries, man. The Bible try to tell you this. The Bible try to tell you this in Genesis chapter 1. In Genesis chapter 1, we went over Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, it said, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven. This is why he created the luminaries to give light upon the earth. He also created the luminaries for signs, following up by the feast days. And guys, man, I don't know what to say. And so I hope this was very edifying to you. If you guys have any questions, we see Jeremiah Bell is watching. Appreciate to have you, man. My main man, JJ. Thank you, brother, for tuning in. You guys have any questions, what I said on tonight, feel free to go ahead because I'm about to close the video out. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me, guys, concerning the topic of discussion on the new moon. Sorry for rambling all around the place, but that's just what some extra information that I put out so you guys can add to your inventory. But we see you, Jeremiah Bell, Jimmy Blake, Venus Judah Israel, Cedric Tyson, Patricia Toombs, Louise Herrera, Monique Myers, Saul Core, Jabari Terrell English, Brian Carter, and Joe Mad Duffy. Guys, everything consists of carbon. Nothing on earth can live without carbon. Nothing on earth can live without the substance of carbon. Nothing on earth cannot live without carbon. We are carbon dated beings. We are carbon beings. Because if you want to find out, when you want to find out how old somebody are, they do what you call carbon dating. So we are carbon beings. We are carbon beings. A lot of people thought for the longest that we were melanated beings, but we're not melanated beings. Melanin is a molecule. We're not melanated beings. We are carbonated beings. And in order for you to have carbon, you got to have 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. 666, which is the flesh. See that? That's how you know the flesh is against the spirit. Because the Bible tells you that the flesh wars against the spirit. The flesh is made of carbon, which is 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. So another mark of the beast is the flesh. Because when God assigned your spirit a body, he put you in the mark of the beast, man. That's another form of the mark of the beast. The flesh, which is 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, which is this wicked ass body, man, that I hate to be. I hate this goddamn body, man. Because what my spirit desires to do, the spiritual things that my spirit longs to do, my flesh tries to keep me from it. My flesh wants me to do abominable, wicked shit. And my spirit is crying out every day against the flesh. Because the flesh is that carbon dirt suit. That mark of the beast. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. See that? So, thank you for your time, guys. To next video, shalom.